This all began on a mild Tuesday afternoon. My infant son, Liam, just 6 months old, had finally settled into his usual nap. After what felt like endless rocking, humming soft tunes, and pleading with tired eyes, silence finally enveloped our apartment. Relief washed over me like a gentle tide, but that calm lasted barely a dozen minutes. Ding dong. The doorbell rang, sharp and insistent. I opened it to find her standing there, Karen. No need for introductions. Every tenant knew her well. Her short, sharp bob haircut, clipboard clutched tightly, lips pressed in that familiar disapproving line. She fancied herself the community's self-appointed WA watchdog. "I'm here representing the WA," she announced, arms firmly crossed. "There have been reports about noise coming from your place. Specifically, crying." I blinked in disbelief. "You mean the baby?" "Yes," she replied, utterly serious. "It's become a problem." I was left speechless. Liam was just a baby. He cries sometimes, sure, but it's not constant. We do our best to keep it down, I explained. Before I could finish, she cut me off. "A formal complaint has already been submitted," she said, handing me a folded sheet of paper. "Noise rules apply to everyone, babies included." I stood stunned as she turned and marched away. Was this for real? A noise complaint against a baby? In the days that followed, the situation worsened. I received an email from the WA referencing Karen's complaint. They cited the community's quiet hours and warned of possible fines. Anger boiled inside me, but I wasn't sure what to do next. I vented on a local parenting forum, asking if this even sounded legal. Many were outraged on my behalf. One user messaged me privately with a tip: "If you want to fight back, keep a noise log. Not just yours, hers too." That's when a plan sparked. Karen owned 2 yappy little dogs, small, fluffy, and completely out of control. They barked at birds, mail carriers, shadows, and often for no reason at all. And always at all hours. If noise was the problem, maybe it was time to take a closer look next door. I grabbed a notebook and began to record every incident. 8:12 a.m., dogs barking at a passerby. 12:44 p.m., barking at a leaf drifting by. 2:05 p.m., non-stop barking for more than 10 minutes. I even downloaded a decibel meter app. By the week's end, I had pages filled with timestamps, decibel levels, and video clips. If they wanted a noise battle, I was ready. But this wasn't just about revenge, it was about fairness. If a baby's occasional crying was too much, then these dogs' constant yapping definitely wasn't acceptable. And I was just warming up. By Sunday, my log was complete. Karen's dogs barking at everything from squirrels to distant sirens. My phone's voice memos were stuffed with barks, yips, and growls, each tagged with exact times and dates. I even caught moments where the dogs barked non-stop for over 15 minutes while she was out, likely oblivious to the chaos her pets created. But I didn't stop at noise recordings. I reviewed WA Rule 6.3.1. All residents must keep peace, including managing pet noise, especially between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. Karen's dogs violated this rule daily. The irony was delicious. Monday, I filed a formal complaint with the WA board. I included audio clips, decibel data, video snippets of her dogs barking at children through fences, and my detailed logs with timestamps. I marked every violation that happened during quiet hours. The response was quicker than I expected. By Wednesday, I had an email from the WA secretary. It was brief and official: "Thank you for your report. We've reviewed the evidence and will address the issue according to WA rules." I couldn't help but smile. Thursday morning, karma showed up in person. Karen was in the courtyard, clipboard in hand, lecturing another resident about unruly hedges. That's when Mr. Nelson, a member of the HOA board, approached her with papers. I couldn't hear their words from my balcony, but her face said it all: confusion, then shock, then anger. She pointed toward my building, probably trying to explain or deflect, but Mr. Nelson wasn't impressed. Later, an official notice appeared on the community bulletin. Effective immediately, resident Karen Matthews must reduce excessive pet noise from Unit 3A's balcony and yard. Failure to comply will lead to escalating fines. The HOA was serious. I fought the urge to laugh out loud. Karen did not take this well. That night, she glared at me through her blinds like I was her worst enemy. The best part: Liam was asleep on my chest, peacefully snoring. No crying, no complaints. Meanwhile, her dogs were silent, likely kenneled indoors. The silence was golden, but I knew this wasn't over. Karen wasn't the type to surrender quietly. Sure enough, by the weekend, Karen had escalated the war. Her dogs were quiet, but Karen herself had become louder. She started making loud phone calls outside, sighing dramatically when passing my window, and muttering thinly veiled insults like, "Some people just can't tolerate normal community noise." At first, I ignored her tantrums when pushing Liam's stroller. Let her throw her fit. But she kept pushing. One afternoon, I found a printed sign taped to my door in big bold letters, "Please be considerate. Excessive noise from children is not enjoyed by everyone." I stood frozen. She'd made it public. My husband, Jason, tore it down immediately. "That's it. We won't let her bully us," he said. I agreed. She'd crossed a line. I emailed the HOA with a photo of the sign. They promised to investigate but gave no concrete action. That wasn't enough, so we decided to strike back where it counted, the next HOA meeting. I'd never attended before, but this time I came prepared. I brought the original noise complaint against my son, the logs of Karen's dogs, the HOA's notice to her, and a printed photo of her hateful sign. Jason stayed home with Liam as I sat in that folding chair, burning quietly with determination. Karen was there too, of course, sitting front and center like the self-declared HOA queen. When the floor opened for comments, I raised my hand. "Hello, I'm Emily from Unit 2B, I began. A few weeks ago, a noise complaint was filed against me, for my infant son. Some of you might remember. I respect our community rules, but when I presented evidence that another resident repeatedly broke those rules with their pets, only then did the board act. Since then, that same resident has retaliated, including posting an aggressive note on my door." Silence fell. Mr. Nelson looked uneasy. Karen was furious. I held up the sign. "This was public. This isn't about noise anymore, it's harassment." Murmurs filled the room. Someone whispered, "Isn't that the dog lady?" Another said, "Babies cry, that's life." The mood shifted. Karen tried to defend herself, saying she never meant harm and was just trying to maintain order. Nobody bought it. Her usual authority was crumbling. That evening, the HOA sent a community-wide email reminding everyone that public shaming, hostile notes, and retaliation aren't tolerated. They emphasized fairness and empathy in handling noise complaints. Karen had seriously overstepped, but she wasn't finished, and neither was I. 2 weeks later, the neighborhood felt different. Strangers smiled at me. One neighbor even left a note on our door, "Babies cry, dogs bark, but adults should know better. We're with you." Karen, meanwhile, had gone quiet, her dogs silent, her clipboard hidden. But I knew her silence was only temporary. Sure enough, her final petty move came on a Saturday. She filed another complaint, this time over a stroller parked in our covered entryway, which dozens of residents used for bikes, plants, and scooters. It was petty and transparent. I stayed calm. I printed photos showing others doing the same and sent them with my reply. The HOA dismissed her complaint outright, reminding everyone that selective enforcement was prohibited. That was the moment Karen's reign truly ended. Her power depended on fear and silence. I refused to give her either. At the next HOA meeting, 2 other residents shared their own stories of Karen's nitpicking, complaints about Halloween decorations and a teen's music volume. By 4 p.m., people were done with politeness. The board asked Karen to step back from unofficial duties and reminded her all complaints must go through official channels, no more door knocking or public shaming notes. Months later, she quietly put her condo up for sale. The day the sign went up, I sipped my coffee on the porch, Liam babbling happily on my lap, as her dogs barked once more inside, almost like a farewell. Jason came out, leaned on the railing, and asked, "Think she'll really leave?" I smiled. "She already has, just not physically yet." He chuckled and kissed Liam's head. "Well then, I guess we won." But it wasn't about winning. It was about restoring balance. I never wanted to ruin Karen, I just wanted fairness. And maybe, just maybe, a little peace. Now I had both. Liam still made noise sometimes, but he was happy, healthy, and loved. And unlike Karen's clipboard crusade, that was a noise worth making. If you've ever dealt with a nosy neighbor like Karen or someone trying to silence your life, hit like so I know I'm not alone. Got your own Karen story? Share it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this tale of neighborhood justice, don't forget to subscribe for more real-life drama, clever comebacks, and satisfying endings. Trust me, the stories only get wilder from here.